When you go out and try to do anything outside the norm, and I'm talking anything outside the norm, you are going to be faced with negativity. You are going to have people misunderstand you. And because they misunderstand you and because you are doing something that they don't do, whether they agree with what you do or not is irrelevant. They're just not familiar with it, okay? And what do people do when they don't understand things? They usually attack them. They usually put negativity towards it. They usually project their own insecurities and their own reservations about what it is they are incapable of doing, and they put them on you. And so when you start out in business, or you start out on a weight loss journey, or you start out to be a better person, you are going to face negativity. And I don't give a shit what any of these frou-frou, fluffy guru motherfuckers out there tell you, okay? Everybody likes to pretend this is an ideal place. They like to think that everything's really gonna be nice, and it's gonna be easy, and it's gonna be this. And I just have a really hard time telling you guys that shit because it's not true. If you can become someone that can transfer negativity into productive action, you are literally unstoppable by outside circumstances and outside elements. The only person that can stop you when you're able to do this is you. And the way you stop you is you can burn yourself down, right? You can get too negative. You can get too hot. You can get too frustrated. So it's something that you need to learn how to pivot on, but also control in a productive way. You all have friends that tell you shit like, hey man, what do you think, you're too good for us now? Or, you know what, I don't think that's a good idea for you to do this. Or, you know what, you're too fucking fat to do this. Or you're too stupid, or you're too lazy, or you come from this, and these are your kind of people. You're not one of those kind of people. We always hear these things. We hear them from the people who love us the most and who are supposed to support us the most, and it hurts because of that. And it slows us down, and it makes us question ourselves, and it squashes our confidence. And for most people, it makes them give the fuck up. And I'm not with that. When people tell me shit that is negative, I take that energy, I take that frustration, I take that pain, and I go address whatever is causing the pain, because the reason it's causing pain for you is because it's true, all right? You have to acknowledge that. The reason people call you fat is because you're fucking fat. You're the one that thinks that that's mean. It's not mean, it's the truth, okay? So what do you do with the truth? You address the truth. And if you address the truth and you're able to be honest with yourself, which is a hard thing to do, right? None of us like being attacked. None of us like being told we're less than. None of us like, but the reason those things hurt is because inside we know they're true. It was true, all right? And that sucks, man. It sucks to let yourself go. It sucks to be broke. It sucks to not have shit going on. It sucks to be a loser. I've been all those things. But the difference is I was able to take the words that other people put on me and to go immediately take action towards the goals. So when you're able to use these things, guys, when you're able to use the negativity into productive action, you become someone who cannot be stopped. And like I mentioned earlier, you can only stop yourself by focusing too much on the negative.
So when they ask me, are leaders born? I know what they're not really asking, are they born? What they're really asking is, are there some people when they're born, they got it? And some people when they're born, they don't got it. And if you got it, you go to the front of the line. If you don't got it, you go to the back of the line. That's what they're asking. And I've got great news for you. And I do believe, I have no question about it, that there are some people that are born with what I call leadership leanings. No doubt about that. Just like some people are born with kind of a musical leaning. No doubt. But the great news is, because I've done this for so long and I've done this with so many over such a long period of time in every country of the world, what I know is you can learn to lead. You can learn to lead. You can learn to be a better leader than you are right now. If I'm a 5 as a leader, that means my organization will be what? Talk to me. A 4. Okay, here we go. Because the leadership lid won't allow it to go higher. So, how do I grow my organization? This is very simple, folks. I've got to raise my lid, don't I? I've got to get this lid up, and because I can become a better leader, I can raise my lid, true? So I can go from a 5 to a 6, to a 7, to an 8, to a 9. You see, your organization will grow to the size of your leadership ability. Now, if I were where you are and I was listening to what I just said, and I was taking notes, somewhere on my notes or somewhere on my iPad, I'd be putting a star right here. I'd be putting a rocket ship. I would be putting a sign that says, do not miss this. Because your ability to lead will determine how successful you'll be in this house, without any question. The whole concept, the whole idea that you can learn to lead, and if you learn to lead, and the better you learn to lead, the more successful you can become, and the greater your business. This is an absolute fact. It's not a theory, it's not a thought, it's not an idea, it's not a principle, it's a fact. And the law of the lid says, the better you learn to lead, the higher you lift that lid, the greater your business can become. Now, that's the law of the lid. How we view things determines how we do things. That's just an incredible principle. Now, each one of these I could preach 30 minutes on, but they won't let me do that. But how I view things determines exactly. So if I view things in a perspective of wanting to serve with excellence, guess what I'll do? I'll serve with excellence. If I view things in a very kind of a average way, then I'll put average into that endeavor. So how I view things is how I do things. Let me give you another perspective principle that's just huge too, and that is what you see is who you will be. And we see things not as they are, we see things as we are. That's why two people can be in the same situation, same experience, same place, and see things completely different than anyone else. So what is before you isn't what you see, who you are is what you see.
You're actually tougher than you think. You never knew that, and maybe you didn't want to take on the responsibility because, you know, people play a role in their own demise, so to speak. When you had opportunity to go out and explore or withdraw because you were afraid, you chose to withdraw because you were afraid. So it's not only that you were overprotected often, it's that you were willing to take advantage of the fact that you were overprotected and run back there whenever you had the opportunity. You know, so maybe you're a kid in the playground, right, and you're having some trouble with other kids, and you know in the back of your mind, I should deal with this myself, but you go and tell your mom and get her to intervene. And you know that that's not right. You know that you're breaking the social contract, but it's easier, and so that's what you do. You run off to an authority figure and hide behind the Great Father, right, roughly speaking. Well, the problem with that is you don't learn how to do it yourself. So then you have to relearn it painfully when you're 40. So then you take people out. You say, well, what are you afraid of? Rank it from 1 to 10. So 10 is, we'll make a list of 10 things you're afraid of. The thing you're least afraid of, we'll call number 10. So we'll start with that. Okay, well, I'm afraid of elevators. Okay, well, let's look at a picture of an elevator. Let's have you imagine being in an elevator. Let's go out to an elevator and let you watch the terrible jaws of death open, because that's how you're responding to it symbolically, right? And you're going to do that at the closest proximity you can manage. You find out, you go do that, and it works. You're nervous as hell, especially from an anticipatory perspective. Shaking. You go out, you stop, you watch it happen, and you actually calm down. You do that 10 times and it no longer bothers you. Well, what you've learned that you didn't die, but more importantly than that, you've learned that you could withstand the threat of death. That's what you've learned. And then you move a little closer, and then you move a little closer, and then you move a little closer, and finally you're back in what's no longer the elevator from a symbolic perspective. It's a tomb, right? It's a place of enclosure and isolation. And you learn, turns out I can withstand that. And then you're much more together, much more confident. And that's often one of the things that often happens in situations like that. I've seen this multiple times, is that if you run someone through an exposure training process like that and toughen them up, they'll often start standing up to people around them in a way they never did before. If you concentrate solely on your career, you can get a long way in your career. And I would say that that's a strategy that a minority of men preferentially do. That's all they do. They work like 70, 80 hours a week. They go flat out on their career. They're staking everything on the small probability of exceptional status in a narrow domain. But it's hard on them. They don't have a life. It's very difficult for them to have a family. They don't know how to take any leisure activity. Like, they get very one-dimensional. Now, it may be that unidimensionality is the price you have to pay to be exceptional at one thing, right? Because if you're going to be something like a genius-level mathematician, and you want to do that or a scientist, say, it's like, you're in your lab all the time, you're working 70 hours a week or 80 hours a week, you're smart, you're dedicated, you're unidimensional, and that's how you get to beat all the other people who are doing that. It's the only way. But the problem is you don't get a life. Now, if you love being a scientist and you have that kind of focus of mind, well, first of all, you're a rare person, and second, you're going to pay for it. But fine, more power to you. But it's a risky business to do that. You sacrifice a lot for it. You know, and I would say most often, if you're speaking about having a healthy life, that isn't what you do. You spread yourself out more. So, you know, you have a family, You have some things that you do outside of work that are meaningful to you and useful. You have a network of friends. Well, those 3 things alone, or 4 things alone, are plenty to keep you well oriented. And then if one of those things collapses, you know, everything doesn't go.
Stay right here on Faith Street, y'all. The box you asked for is coming. Everything on my vision board I get. I built on my house one time. My wife wanted a special kind of car. And I built the garage, the extra garage on the house. She came out there and saw them. She said, Steve, what are you doing? I said, I'm building an extra garage. She said, Steve, we got enough cars. What do you need with another garage? I said, don't worry about it. 2 years went by. I had been looking for this car. I went to dealerships. They said, sir, there are none in that color. I said, she wanted white. I said, so I went to the dealership. I said, I want you to get this car in for my wife. She said, sir, there are none in the country and none being made. I said, okay. Well, when the car come in, could you accept it into your dealership and call me when it gets here? He said, sir, I done told you. I can pull it up on the computer. There are no cars in that color, that make or model. Do you want another color? I said, no, my wife wants white. She said, sir, we don't have that. I said, I've already built the garage. I've already built the garage. All my garages have chandeliers in them. I don't have doors that go over. All my cars have chandeliers hanging over, and I have marble floors in my garage. I like stuff like that because I saw it one time. So I said, I've already built the garage. He said, sir, there are no cars like that anywhere in the computer base. I said, I just need for you when the car comes in. So a year went by. I said, any word on the car? He said, no, I've called the factory. They're not even making it anymore in that color. I said, okay, I'm looking for this color right here. He said, sir, we don't have it. I said, I'm gonna give it to her for her birthday, October 10th, 2016. He said, sir, that's impossible. I said, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's just a car that I'm asking for in a particular color. How that's impossible? He said, sir, I can't find the car. I ain't asked you to. I asked you when it come through, would you accept it into your dealership and call me? That's all I asked you for. 2 weeks before my wife's birthday, I got a phone call. It was Perillo from Gold Coast in Chicago. He said, Steve Harvey. He said, are you sitting down? I said, no, I'm standing up. What's happening? He said, you're not going to believe this. A guy bought a car a year ago. It's been sitting in his garage. It has 8 miles on it. He brought it to me to turn in to me and ask him, how much would I give him for it? I said, what is it? He said, it's the white car you've been looking for. I said, I'll be up there to get it. He said, this is unbelievable. I said, that God I serve, he's an unbelievable God. I don't listen to what nobody tell me. Once I write it down, I write the vision and make it plain, it will come. Surely it will come at an appointed time. It doesn't matter that nobody sees it. It doesn't matter that it's visible to other people. All you got to do is write it down and believe it. God is greatness, man, all day long. What he's done for me, he'll do the same thing for you. But you got to write the vision. Go home and read Habakkuk 2:2. Go home and read Bible verse Habakkuk 2:2. I'm going to give you the 2 scriptures that changed my entire life. Now, I had heard these scriptures growing up, but it didn't sit with me until I was homeless. The first scripture, you have not because you ask not. Now listen to me. I cannot tell you how important that single scripture is. A lot of the problems I was having, and you may be having just like me, is because what I was asking God for was the wrong stuff. I kept going to him too small. I was praying for stuff that really didn't need that much of a prayer. Lord, help me make my rent. Well, don't he always? Don't you always get your rent? What about if you change that? Suppose you said, Lord, help me make my mortgage. You think God don't know you ain't got the down payment? You really think God don't know you need another job? He know all of that. But if you don't ask him for it, he can't. God don't give you what you want. He give you what you believe. See, you've been blowing it. If you up your ass, he ups his gill. That's his promise. You have not, cause you ask not. Lord, help me fix my car so I can make it to work. Stop praying over these raggedy cars. Why don't you ask God for a car that don't need fixing? Oh, you think that's too big for him? Is that it? So you don't ask this great God for big stuff because you don't see how you can get it. You're not supposed to see how you can get it. You're just supposed to ask him for it. See, the how-to is none of your business. You keep getting in the way of the blessing because you all up in the how-to part of it. Show me the scripture where he tells you to figure out how to do anything. He don't ask you to how-to nothing. You have not because you ask not. Second, you don't have it written down. Everything you're asking God for, it has to be written down. This is not a theory. This is another scripture. I'm going to give it to you. It's in your Bible. Habakkuk 2:2. It says, write the vision and make it plain so that he who reads it will run to it. And even though it tarry, that means take a long time. Wait for it, for surely it will come at an appointed time. That's in your Bible. That's in the copy you got. That ain't in the rich people's Bible. That's in the copy you got. It's in the drawer at the hotel. It's Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain. Everything you want, you're supposed to write down. I'm telling you, man, this is how it works. You know, some rich people don't really have degrees. Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, they ain't got a degree between them. But they got more degrees working for them than a thermometer. Education ain't in the Bible. Harvard is not in there. UCLA is not in the Bible. You just need the word. You need to know what it's saying applied to you. You know why? Because it's a promise of his. He ain't never lied. He always come through. If I was you, I'd try that. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. If somebody came and told me to do that, I would at least give that a try. Those two scriptures can change your mind. Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. The bigger the stuff you ask God for, the greater the requirements. Now, if you don't want nothing to happen to you, quit asking for stuff. You can simplify your life right now. Quit wanting something. But I got to tell you something. That's a hard life. You know, the Bible says to whom much is given, much is required. But when you ain't got nothing, you know, where my rent coming from? That's every month. You got to figure that out. How we gonna eat? We figuring out how we gonna make these ends meet. Every month, that's hard. So I've been at every economic level there is. I've been stark raving poor, and I've been well off. It's way better to have money. Don't let nobody fool you. I don't know what somebody done told you about money, but I've had none for an extended period of time. I mean, none. Now, you got some problems with money that you can't imagine. When you get it, you gonna have. It ain't a week go by, I don't get 2 to 3 pieces of bad news. But you know what I do? I take all that bad news with the knowledge that God must have something else for me. I live my life in expectation. Therefore, guess what? He gives me what I expect. I expect a life of abundance. You think they take this show from under me? You think I'm finna crumble? Don't even worry about Steve Harvey. Don't you know he got something else for me? Something way bigger, something way better. The people make decisions, they think they crumbling me all the time. They've been making decisions about me for years out here. They can't do nothing with me. I keep showing up over and over and over and over. I'm from Welch, West Virginia. I grew up in the hood. I've been shot. I've been laying on the street that's named Steve Harvey Boulevard. On the street they said I was dying on. They thought I wasn't going to get up out that street. That same block I was dying on is named after me now. You can't tell me nothing about what God can't do. God do the impossible, man. See, I expect great things to happen to me, even in the midst of trouble. I dare you to start writing everything down you want. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you to call. You look, man, if you call out God on his word, you better be ready. Because you're about to get checked. If you call him out on his promise, he gonna check you. I've been checked over and over and over till I got it. I don't even fool around no more. I go to God, I ask him for it. Then I write it down. Maybe you just want $100,000 a year. Put it down. Maybe you're just trying to do something nice for your kids or your grandkids. Write it down. How much you want to make a year? How much would you like to see in a savings account? Write this stuff down. This is critical information. It's not a magic trick, man. Quit tripping. This is real. This is how it works. Rich people do this all the time. We ain't out here just making paper because we that good at it and God love us more than he love you. That ain't why we getting it. We getting it because we understand the principles of success and we apply them to our life. Don't let these rich people out here fool you. All these people out here got vision boards. They might not tell you about God, but that's their problem. I don't do nothing without mentioning him because I would be nothing without him. I'm awash without the Lord. Do you hear me? I'm nothing without him. I'd still be living in the car if it wasn't for him. But he came and he got me because I kept asking him over and over and over and over. I dare you to go home and call him on his word. Now, be prepared now. You're going to get checked. He's going to check you because you don't question him.
Whatever position you find yourself in today, we put ourselves there by a series of thoughts and actions. Thoughts turn into things. That's very important to know. So let's look at both sides of it. For people who think negative thoughts, it turns into negative things. And the direct opposite is true for those who think positive thoughts. It turns into positive things. That's the deal. It's as simple as that, folks. Thoughts become things. So the one glaring question for all of us always is on a daily basis, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Because this is a fact of life. This is biblical. This is spiritual. This is written. This is philosophical. This is the law of the universe. This is just the way it is. Now, and here the cold part, folks. It don't matter if you believe me or not. It does not matter if you have never been explained this or not. And it does not matter if you think it works in your life or not. It don't matter. Listen to me. It is the way it is. It's just whatever the law of the universe, you call whatever you want to call. However you got to dress this thing up, because this is all it is. So when I say that you are where we are today because we thought ourselves here, oh, you best to believe that's true. You thought yourself here, no one else. See, let me explain something. I got people around me who so badly want to take credit for it, but I don't allow it. Because I keep pointing to the heavens. By grace and mercy, by blessings from God, my life is because God has seen it to be so. Oh, but I got plenty of people around me who want credit for it and want you to not give credit to God and give it to them. I got that. But it's okay. It's so clear to me what my father was saying to me, man. I get it as I get older and older. People come into your life for seasons, and I guess that's the same thing. You know, they season up, they gone. Well, you know, here the way they try to hold you, though. Oh, you gonna forget where you come from? Oh, you ain't gonna keep it real no more? I don't want to go back where I come from. I don't want to keep it that real no more. It was real enough for me living in a car. I had enough of that real. Now I don't keep it real. I want to go keep it dreamy. I want to go keep it fantasizing. I want to keep it out of this world. I want to see what that's like. So no, I ain't going to forget where I come from, but you ain't going to hold me to that day. Thoughts become things. Where are the things that you want written down? What do you think about the most? How grateful are you for what all God has done. Where you at with that? If all you thinking about is your debt, if all you thinking about is what you ain't got, if all you thinking about is every time I turn around I'm sick, if all you thinking about is the things in life that you're lacking, and if thoughts become things, how much debt you think you're gonna stay in? How much lacking you think you finna feel in your life? How much more stuff you finna not have? Cause you keep thinking about it all the time. When you gonna be grateful? When you gonna say thank you? When it's gonna come out your mouth, man, that I may not be where I want to be, but I sure am grateful for what you've given me so far, for the things I have today, because I don't have to have these things. You know what that does? That then opens up room for more stuff to come your way to be grateful for. If you're ungrateful for the things we got, if we can't show no gratitude for what we have, why would God give us some more stuff to be ungrateful for? What would he do that for? Ta-da! Anybody feel me right now? Because I want you to feel me. I want you to understand and come to the understanding. Not saying you ain't, because there's so many people got a deeper understanding than me about this whole thing. I promise you they do. And listen to me. I'm just trying to get you to walk up in this light, man, so you can go on with your life and quit tripping yourself out with your thoughts, because thoughts become things.
TV to me is just, what do I really think? I'm going to give you my honest opinion. And then, you know, if you don't like that, tune in tomorrow. That's the thing about opinions, man. Everybody's entitled to them. I was watching Joel Osteen on TV one day, and he said, people's opinion of you is none of your business, nor should you make it yours. You get in a lot of trouble worrying about what somebody think about you, when really, what difference do it make? Whether they wrong or right, and what difference do it make? The majority of people who have a negative viewpoint of you really don't even know you. What I found about being successful is, it wasn't me who changed. It was people's opinion of me that changed. You know, I got more, but I'm the same dude. But your opinion of me has changed. Now you think I'm all that. When in actuality, I really am humbled by all this. I really can't believe God let me have this. I really do understand that I am here but by the grace of God. I'm clear about that. I am so clear about that. It ain't me. It's not me. See, I know the decisions I made, and I know how it got me where I got to. I know how my life turned out when I gave it over to him. I gave my life to God. Now, I may not be the Christian you think I ought to be, but once again, your opinion of me, it doesn't matter to me. I've just learned not to allow people opinion of me to bother me or stop me. Publicly, man, I've been ridiculed and ate alive on that internet. You this, he think he this, I can't stand him. He this, he that. You know, I've been everything on the internet. I don't care. When you get through reading that stuff, cut your TV on. Turn it to almost any channel you want to. 7 days a week. The little dude that you keep hating on, that God I serve, he ain't hated me yet. He ain't hated me not now time. And I've discovered something. Look, man, what God got for you, nobody, no hater, no employer, no co-worker can stop nothing God has for you. God is in the blessing business, but better than that, he's in the forgiving business. See, if God wasn't a forgiving God, I'm not here today. But God had to forgive me over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I can't count the times he done forgave me. See, I just never let my failures define me. See, when you make a mistake, just get up and go again. What you tripping for? I made public mistakes. Let me tell you something, man. When Miss Universe, I have to apologize. I took that myself. You know how many people wrote me off? You know how many letters I got from TV execs? We're proud of you for doing the right thing, but oh my God, a horrible mistake. I hope you're gonna be okay. You hope I'm gonna be, what, my career over because of that? People wrote me off. You know what? I just got up. I kept coming to work. I'm back. I just kept coming. I kept showing up. Because eventually, well, what you gonna do? The time has come. You know, my father used to always tell me something. You're gonna either get over it or die mad. You got two choices. You can get past it or you can die mad. Now, if you want to die mad, carry your ass on. And just die mad. But God forgave me, so I got up and I kept going. Your mistakes don't define you. Life is 10% what happened to you, is 90% what you do about it. I just stood up like I had some dignity. And I just kept performing, kept telling jokes, kept entertaining people. To the point now where it don't even matter. That pageant is the biggest pageant they've ever had. Everybody tune in and see who the fuck I'm gonna say this year. Just keep living, y'all. Keep waking up in the morning.
Mr. Bennett continues, if one cannot arrange that an income of 24 hours shall exactly cover all proper items of expenditure, one does muddle one's whole life indefinitely. We shall never have any more time. We have, and we have always had, all the time there is. Isn't that well said? Let's consider some approaches to managing our time most effectively. The first approach is to ignore the subject altogether. The man says, I've been late all my life. I can't ever seem to get a handle on my time. Heck with it. I'll just struggle along the best I can. That's okay. It's your life, right? You can do with it as you please. But consider what this attitude might be costing you. Here's the second approach. Step down to something easier. Again, that's okay too. A man works for a company, then decides he wants to own one. When he gets that responsibility, comes to work before everyone else, leaves after everyone else, he now says, I would rather work for someone else's company. Hey, again, it's your life. Success is not a stereotype. There isn't just one model. Know clearly what success means to you and be comfortable with the price you pay for it. You might have heard the story of the little girl who complained to her mother that her daddy never had time to play with her. She said, why doesn't my daddy play with me? He comes home from work, goes to the study and work, comes out for dinner, goes back to work again. I want to play with my daddy. So her mother explained to her, your daddy is very busy. He loves you very much, and that is why he works so hard. At his office, he has so much work to do that he has to bring the rest of it home and finish it here. That is why he can't play with you. The little girl thought for a moment, trying to solve this problem, and came up with the answer. She said, well, why don't they just put him in a slower group? Hey, not a bad idea. Don't throw away other important values in your life just going for one. I went for some things in my life and found out later I had paid too much. If I had known how much they were going to cost, I never would have paid. So that is a consideration. The next approach to time management is to work longer and harder. And we all know the dangers there, right? Unless you aren't working at all, then you probably need to work longer and harder. But for some people, if 10 hours won't do it in a day, they work 12. And if 12 won't do, they move it up to 14. Some people even take on 2 jobs. And there are some very real dangers here, not least of which is health problems that result from not being able to handle the stress. So you've got to be careful with this approach. The last approach I think is the best, and that is to get more out of you. In the time you have assigned to labor, make the hours more valuable. The key is not to work harder, but to work smarter. If you're putting in about 8 or 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, that's about it. You can't work much harder. But remember, it's not the hours you put in that count. It's what you put in the hours. Get more from you to make the investment of time more valuable. And no telling how valuable you can become. We don't lack the capacity. We only lack the ideas and the will and the discipline to carry them out. In considering the subject of time management, remember that a big part of the key for changing is to take it in small steps. Most of us don't make revolutionary changes. We change a few degrees at a time. When you get some life momentum rolling, it's not that easy to make all the changes all at once. Hey, you can't whip a U-turn with the Queen Elizabeth II. When that big ship gets moving, they say it takes 7 miles just to get it stopped. So when it's really moving, you just have to nudge it a little, and finally you get it turned. That's a lot like our lives. A few nudges at a time.
How many of you know that it's hard building a thriving residual income on a monthly basis? Raise your hands. Yeah. That's why most people won't say, get. It's much easier to complain about the economy. It's much easier to complain about our elected officials. It's much easier to talk about the recession. That's much easier. To come up with excuses why you can't do it. That's where I was. That's where I set up station for a long time. My mentor said something to me, Mike, wait, I want you to write this down. He said, anybody can complain. He said, if you do what is easy, that's complaining. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. Come on, that's strong medicine. If you do what is easy, complain about your situation, your circumstances. If you do what is easy, stand around and be a volunteer victim like everybody else. If you do what is easy, surrender and give up on your dreams. Become depressed and bitter and angry. Anybody can do that. If you do what is easy, your life be hard. But if you do what is hard, keep coming back again and again and again. If you do what is hard, approaching strangers, talking to people in shopping malls, get up dressed every day, going out prospecting, knowing some way, somehow, with a spirit of expectation, somebody's out here looking for an opportunity. You can go outside right now and see some pigeons, but you're out hunting for eagles, and they're not common. And if you do that over and over and over again, somebody's going to show up. Somebody's going to say, I'm the one. Dr. Thurman, I love him so. What a great. He said there's something in each and every one of them that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of string that somebody else pulls. And I submit to you, you invest time and money, go to the airport, fly across country. I suggest to you, some of you drove here. I suggest to you, you showed up because you said, I'm going to pull my own strings. I'm going to control my own life. Nobody will ever pull my strings again. Give yourselves a round of applause. I want you to write this down. Choosing your future. It's a program that we've created that's designed to put in place for you to work on yourself. A systematic process that changes your mindset. It's possible, it's necessary, it's you, it's hard, it's worth it, it's done. It's 6 CDs.
I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired of shortcasting. I'm tired of 15-year-olds being killed in drive-by shootings. I'm tired of 3-year-olds getting shot through a door in our own house plan because we won't talk about life. Somebody has got to have the courage to talk about life that is not just a straight line and everything that just fall into place. And Peter, the great apostle of the New Testament, is warming himself by the fire of the Romans, denying Jesus, and not just saying I'm not his disciple. He said, I don't even know him. It's a shame, but it's true. And what of Thomas? Thomas, who said, we must go and die with him. Where is he? Where is Thomas? Not in the upper room later when Jesus rose from the dead. Where is he at the cross? Because when Jesus left for Jerusalem, Thomas said, look it up, I must go and die with him. But when that dying got real, a lot of people say a lot of stuff until it gets real, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, to richer and for poor, till you pee on yourself. When it gets worse, don't be so carried away about what people say, because Thomas, who was ready to die for him, turns up MIA at the cross. I see John, I see Mary, I see the Roman soldiers. Where is Thomas at the cross? No wonder he doesn't show up in the upper room. Shame. No wonder he is not gathering with the rest of the disciples, because they heard him say, I will die with him. And they know he has shrinking to the bushes and ran down the path and went over the hill and swam across the creek to get away from death. And what about Judas and his infamous betrayal of Jesus? I was reading a non-canonical book called The Gospel of Judas that has been discovered in the antiquities of history. And in it purports the ideology that Judas really wasn't trying to betray Jesus. He was trying to put Jesus in a situation where he would have to overthrow Rome so that the kingdom could come. And he thought that if he got Jesus in in an open confrontation with Rome that Jesus would show his power and rise to power, and he would finally take on politics and stop healing sick people. Because I'm tired of you healing sick people. That's not why I'm following you. I'm following you because I want political power. And the trick blew up in his face, and he didn't know they were going to kill him. If he knew they were going to kill him, then why did he hang himself? He hung himself because he got caught in his own web, and it cost somebody their life. And some of us have made decisions that cost other people their lives and their careers and their futures. And it's hard to live when you got the masterful plot and the plot goes wrong. Can I go deeper? I want to submit, just for your curiosity, it could be possible that had Judas not hung himself, he could have got the same. He could have come and fallen on his knees and said, forgive me. And I know you don't believe it, but I will defend it. If Jesus could be dying on the cross and say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, while they nailed him to the tree, then surely,